This is Drak'Tharon Keep as Mistweaver Monk. I'm not an expert at this game, this is not a dungeon guide, this represents my personal experience with a random dungeon group. So yeah, Drak'Tharon Keep. A lot of memories in this place. Wrath of the Lich King dungeon. I was always happy to see this one. I enjoyed it, and it's pretty straightforward and not too hard to do.
Be safe.
I lost my cloth. Okay, right. So she gives me an item that I have to actually use somewhere. Yeah, this is the sort of quest that I need to pay attention to, and because you have to actually actively do a thing to complete it. It doesn't just sort of happen as the dungeon goes along. Also, there's one more to pick up here. Some troll wants me to do something or other. Yeah, cleansing Drak'Tharon, another item you have to use in a place. But first I need to pay attention to. Okay, so we got Blood Death Knight, Shadow Priest, looks like... Is that perhaps an Arms Warrior? How do you tell quickly between Arms and Fury? Some kind of warrior. And somebody else. Who's the bottom one? It's a mage, and she is way back at the entrance, not following us. There she comes. Oh, all Ragnaros group. Huh. Okay. Surely they're all together. Like, it would be a huge coincidence for that to just kinda happen, incidentally. Alright, so I'm the only one in this group not from Ragnaros. Ragnaros is a Latin America server. Yeah, I think that's right. And therefore, historically, there have been some communication issues with the people who play on it, and, you know, people who only speak English. So it's gained kind of a reputation just as, like, a place where, if you see somebody from Ragnaros, and you need to communicate with them, that can be a problem. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the reason that name stands out. And I think it's like the big Latin America server. So it's the one you'll see most often that has people who are more likely not to speak your language than if they're from a different server. That's kind of the only reason. Some semi-heavy hits happening here. Yeah, that's right. Those big brutes have some heavy blows. And make these weird, like, big black circles on the ground that look super out of place. They just don't look like anything else in this game. I don't know why. Control undead. Okay, so you've enslaved one of the enemies now, and it's our friend, at least temporarily. Yeah, some healing requirements. Having to press my Vivify button more than usual. Okay, so they have some sort of frontal spray, so don't stand in front of them. Wow, yeah! So Life Cocoon. People are moving back and are conscious of the fact that they're taking a lot of damage. I used a Fortifying Brew. I'm keeping up, but only just barely. Okay, it's all good. Encounter's over. Cool. Hey, that was fun. My mana's pretty low. So I'm gonna, like, get people kinda healed up and probably sit down and drink. Why are you dying? What are you standing in? Where are you even? Okay, so that's the warrior. The whatever kind of warrior. He's up there fighting the... whatever's being fought. I'm prepared to drink. The instant combat ends. There it goes. Because there's a boss right up here, and I know they're just going to run right into it. Why do I know that? I don't know. Just, I was reading the group vibe, and it's like, they're not going to give me time to get mana back. They're going to just go and fight the boss and assume it'll be fine. Which it is, because I was prepared for that. But it might not have been. Please keep an eye on your healer's mana bar. If you take real heavy damage, it's probably going to go down. If it goes down, you probably want to wait a brief moment before engaging the next thing. But if the healer's prepared enough, then they'll be ready for you not to wait for them, and probably will be able to compensate for that. But don't count on that, please. That's what I have to say. Anyway, everything's fine. That was Trollgore. He does stuff he didn't really in that encounter. Just has an enrage, and that's about it. Was a little more serious on Heroic when this was current, but never was too much of a problem. I just remember him as the one dude at the top of that stairway that you have to go through to get to the rest of the dungeon. Then there's a spider nest. A lot of webbing going on here, which doesn't bother me because I can just hold still and do my thing. No particular need to move here. Yeah, Dark Web Recluse flees back to its den. A lot of Death Grip going on. Death Knight's trying to keep control of the situation. I think if they go back to their den, they come back with a bunch of littler spiders or something. Yeah, that's happening over there. I see it. This looks annoying to be a tank in this room. Because you have a lot of things just all over the place wanting to run around to the corners of the room and not be all grouped up on you like you want them to be. Okay, here comes a weird boss. I was never completely clear on the mechanics of this boss, and that's still true. There's like waves of weak enemies that come from that stairway on my left. He has an invulnerability barrier, so you can't do anything to him yet. So waves come down, you fight them for a while, then you gotta like smash his crystals to get rid of his barrier so he becomes vulnerable? Bolster my defenses. Oh right, there's like a dude you gotta kill here. Crystal Handler. Okay, so you kill the Crystal Handler, and that's what gets rid of the crystal, maybe? Let's find out. So every time you hear, bolster my defenses, in that voice, it means come down and pay attention because there's a Crystal Handler. On me! And all the while, a bunch of undead are flowing in from that stairway, but they're not a big deal. They go down super quick. Probably don't even particularly need... I saw a level 75. Hold on, there was a level 75 enemy. Red level number. Interesting. Yeah, level 75. Fetid Troll Corpse. 74. So those are not scaling to my level. The Death Knight's level 74. I don't understand how the level scaling in dungeons works. It's weird and confusing and pretty much opaque. A significantly higher level historically I think has meant that like things will block or dodge attacks more frequently from lower level characters attacking them. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Everybody's taking some damage here. Oh, his barrier's down, by the way, and he's almost dead. So encounter's over. So basically, I guess that just means like you have this constant flow of mild threat coming from one direction, a thing you have to pay attention to periodically to get access to the actual boss's health bar, and then the continuing outpouring of threat down the stairway. It never really stops. But yeah, that's an interesting encounter. I like it when they're a little more varied like that than just like, hey, here's a big health bar, deplete it. Maybe there's one or two mechanics or you have to like move out of some fire on the floor. Those are fine too, but I don't like it when every boss is just that. I wasn't really trying to skin, I just wanted to loot. So that Risen Drakari handler is still here. Again, yeah, so I've played a Death Knight. It was a long time ago. I don't remember the mechanics of Control Undead. I don't know if that was available to... Well, I played a Blood Death Knight, so it must have been available to me if it's available to this Blood Death Knight. Unless that was the thing that changed. I don't think it was. Maybe it was just an ability I never played with, because it seemed like this weird situational thing, and I was never in a situation where I felt like doing it, but... I'm sure I did tank this dungeon as that Death Knight, so... I don't know. Must have just not thought of it. That time I wanted to skin. So optional dinosaur boss in here, I think. I'm pretty sure he's skippable if you don't want to fight him. He wanders around in this area. As far as right where we're standing, I'm pretty sure. Happens to be deeper in right now, I think. Yeah, okay, here he comes. Doesn't really fit on screen, so you just see his legs. There's a dinosaur up there. Defining feature of this guy. What is it? Frightening Roar? Wow, that is a very low poly model. Being a 15-year-old game where not everything has been consistently updated. Yeah, okay, that fear. King Dread. That's the guy. He fears. Make sure things are clear enough that if he fears you into some pocket of threat that's remaining, then it won't be a problem. Looks like there isn't too much to get in trouble with here, though. Anyway, yeah, 15-year-old game. Some 3D models have been in there since pretty much the beginning. I don't know if this was based on an old monster and not made fresh for when it was current, but when it was current was already like 9 years ago, probably. Anyway, yeah, very uneven graphical quality in some things in this creaky old game. I'm kind of impressed by, like, while a lot of things have changed since the beginning of this game, so many things have not. Like, it is a 15-year-old game with things that are 15 years old still in it. Mostly the same as how they ever were. It's pretty neat. Just a lot of interesting history here. I don't interact with a lot of video games that are that old and are continuously updated without just, like, throwing away the stuff and redoing it completely. There has been some throwing away and redoing, like the Cataclysm expansion. Point of that, to some degree, was to rework all of the classic zones and modernize them at least somewhat to allow for flight and, you know, new questing in their areas. I mean, Cataclysm had its own zones that were just sort of woven in with the area covered by the classic zones, but also included a pretty significant facelift to the old stuff. So that was kind of the big turning point for the world at large. So I guess, like, everything in Outland, the Burning Crusade, would be the kind of the oldest at this point, because I don't think that was ever updated. Next expansion is going to be a big turning point, at least for the leveling experience and number tuning and stuff, but I don't know much about, like, Cataclysm-style world changes that might happen. If there are any planned, I don't know about them. Not that I'm, like, super paying attention to news of this. Okay, yeah, so Long Fear's here, too. This particular little hallway always has that happen in it. Somebody gets feared, goes to the next group, and now there are even more things that'll cast fear on you. I think it's interruptible. I don't have any interrupts, though. Got a leg sweep. I'm apparently not using it. People are taking damage. I have other concerns, but as I learn later as I play this character more, a leg sweep, as long as things are not immune to it, is way better than healing spells if people are continually taking damage, because just, like, stopping all damage for 2 or 3 seconds or however long it is extremely powerful. Leg sweep is, like, one of my best prevention abilities, I guess. Alright, last boss here. What's this called? Tharanja the Prophet or something? Is that here? Yeah. Takes the form of some sort of weird bony serpents for some reason. So this is a weird gimmick fight. Seems normal enough now, but halfway through he's gonna do a thing to everybody. Decay flesh. Now I'm a skeleton, and I have completely different abilities. Gift of Tharanja. So, just like a random action bar, I have a taunt. I don't want to use it because I'm not the tank. Touch of Life. So is that the one for the healer? I'm kind of standing in the green because I'm distracted by being a skeleton. Politely enough, he changes us all back, so we don't have to stay skeletons forever. Not a lot going on healing-wise here. So that's nice. Still talking somehow. Saying his name a lot. Right, so here's where you gotta do this thing. Did I get the Ichor stained cloth? That was at Novos the Summoner. I must have done it when I wasn't paying attention because I don't see it in here. Head Games is probably the one that was. Anyway, so Drak'Tharon, the guy we saw in the brazier at the start, comes up here. Oh, hey, that was the mind-controlled undead, so we're finally releasing and fighting it. This is a good time because Drak'Tharon just sort of sits here, wanders around, does random things for like 4 or 5 minutes. And is the quest turn-in point for the one he gave us. So you gotta wait if you want to turn in that quest. But you gotta wait a long time. He destroyed some artifacts. Some kind of story points going on here. The Lich King is not really our friend, but Drak'Tharon kind of acts like he is. Apparently he's working for him. I never understood what's going on here, but I don't pay that much attention to the lore of the game here.
You have done well, Drak'Tharon.
He has a really loud voice.
Your betrayal of the Drakari Empire has borne me a new army.
And he doesn't really seem to pay any attention to us. Just one-on-one with Drak'Tharon here. I also have no idea who Drak'Tharon is outside the
and accept my gift.
Outside the context of just this dungeon. Don't feel like I ever saw him before or after this. He just, as far as I know, exists only here.
I charge you now with the cleansing of Zuldrak, Drak'Tharon.
The cleansing of Zuldrak. Maybe he exists in some raid dungeon that I haven't like spent a lot of time in. Because it seems like he's being built up as somebody will have to fight later.
Succeed, and even greater power shall be yours.
Blah blah blah. Lots of words. Sword in the ground. Just had to adjust his gloves. Everybody else is running around. I'm the only one who's capable of standing still here, apparently. I think we're almost done with this.
I be needing worthy underlings in Zuldrak, man. One's ready to wield real power. You see for yourself now. The Lich King be generous to them who obey.
So he wants to convince us to be on Team Arthas.
And soon you be tasting immortality.
Maybe this guy exists as like a quest NPC somewhere in Zuldrak. Zuldrak being the world zone where this dungeon exists. Okay, so finally we get to turn in that quest. I'm not teleporting out, because it looks like these people know another way and I'm curious. And they do. So down there to that. Whoever left perhaps did teleport out and already turn in the stuff instead of taking the long way around here. But long way is interesting. These little pools of water, Fall of Return. We went through the Hall of Departure on our way here. This is the Hall of Return. Where is this relative to everything else? There? Did we go through here? I don't think those are the corpses of things we killed. Yeah, okay, so that left stairway, we took the right stairway, the one that's now on my left, on the way in. So if you take a left at that fork on your way in, then you'll just end up at the bottom of the water pool. That's the Fall of Return. I see. That's how it works. Cool. I guess, well, that's particularly handy, return routes like this, if you are walking manually to this dungeon instead of using the dungeon finder. I want to say the dungeon finder didn't exist when Wrath of the Lich King first came out, and it was added midway through, but I don't know for sure. Alright, cool. That was Drak'Tharon Keep. See you for next one.